The following is a conversation with Parin Heidari, a visionary artist whose life and work are a profound testament to the power of resilience. What shapes an artist? Is it the culture they are born into, the challenges they overcome, or the unique way their mind perceives the world? For Parin, it is all of the above. Born in Tehran, Iran, a land rich with poetry and art, her journey has been anything but linear. It has taken her from a science-focused school with expectations of an engineering career to finding her true path as an artist in Italy, and eventually to the digital frontier of Web3. Parin's creative process is remarkable. She draws with both hands simultaneously in a single continuous line, a technique she developed to embrace the beauty of imperfection. But what truly sets her apart is her synesthesia, a neurological trait that allows her to see sounds and music as shapes and colors. The frequency of a song or the tone of a voice directly translates to the speed and form of her lines, making sound her true canvas. Her journey in the NFT space mirrors the intense highs and lows of her life. She experienced explosive success, selling out a collection in a single day and using nearly all the proceeds to fulfill a lifelong dream of building and providing clean water to underprivileged villages back home. She then faced devastating setbacks, from being deplatformed due to international sanctions, to falling victim to a sophisticated hack that stole not just assets, but memories. Through it all, her spirit remains unbreakable. This is a conversation about finding your voice, overcoming artist blocks, and navigating a world of immense challenges with grace, optimism, and an unwavering belief in community and the power of art to change lives. And now, it is my great pleasure to present my conversation with Parin Heidari. Does that work? There. Now I can hear you.
Nice. Hi. So good to see you.
It's good to see you. It's been forever.
I know, right? From NFT NYC, I guess. That was the last time with Jake.
Yeah, I feel like it was, huh? It was like 2022.
Yeah, but feels like I don't know, like 12, 13 years ago.
I feel like that's how this space moves. It's so fast.
Right? How have you been?
Good, good. What's new with you?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, like since 2 years ago, a lot has happened. I moved to LA from New York, and I'm about to move to another city. I'll reveal it soon. I'm not sure where. But I worked on a lot of like different works. My work ended up in a museum, which is like I can't still believe it actually happened. And
Let's
so many other
go.
things. I worked at Roku, the channel. That was my
Yeah,
Web2 job. And I got laid off. Yay. My whole team basically 2 weeks ago.
typical Web
And
2.
right? I'm still so not used to the US because back in Europe, like you have 3 or 4 months of notice, and then they pay you for 1 extra year when you get laid off. Here is like, okay, we're not gonna see you anymore from 5 minutes from now. And I'm like, okay, what? So that's what happened.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That
Oh,
sucks.
it's actually great because that happened a few weeks before I was at the museum that I just mentioned, the Museum of Art and Light, and being there reminded me of how much I loved to be a full-time artist. So I'm actually happy I'm not working there anymore.
What museum is your art in now?
So it's in the Museum of Art and Light. It's in Kansas, in Manhattan, which is not the New York one. And a lot of people were like, "So how's New York?" I'm like, "I'm in Kansas. I'm not there," because of the name of the city. It started like the whole museum project started almost a year ago. Iconic Culture, they reached out to me and they wanted to have some of my pieces for the permanent collection of the museum. And then we also have been working on a release that it's going to be released in 10 days, which is something very new that I've done. It's not drawing anymore from me, it's drawing from my friends who are robots. So they actually worked on my drawings and they made a huge light painting. So that's going to be released pretty soon as a part of the museum collection.
Oh my God, congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really, really great. The past like 7 or 8 months, I've been working really hard on this project. Very excited for it.
Do you feel like it's because you are working at Roku? Like you don't have a normal job anymore. Now you're like full time.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yes. I mean,
Congratulations on freedom.
thank you. Working is good. I'm very ambitious and I have to work and I love teamwork, but um a lot of Web2 companies, I'm sure you know, it's not like they don't know what creativity is. They don't want it. They want something very much in the box. I'm fully against it. I have to stay in like borders in a box basically, and they're like, "Oh, we don't want you to be creative." So it was really annoying to have that, but at the same time I loved my team there. So the job itself was not creative, but the team, everybody was very creative. So that was a good part of it. But I mean, that's life. So I'm back to our art world, our little Web3 art world now.
I feel like that is life. And if anyone has, I feel like a wild story of life, it's you, Perrin.
Oh, yay. I love that.
You do have definitely an interesting story. Um, I wanted to have you on the podcast because one, I love your work. I love you, of
Oh, thank
course.
you.
I,
Likewise.
I have the piece that you made for me in New York right here.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I
That
have it
makes
in
me so happy.
I like have it in my office. Like I always hang like
Oh,
people's work like right here when I have them on, and I'm like, I have Perrin's like right here, the one she made me in New
oh,
York.
I love
It's like
that.
it's like all wrinkled up because like I had to put it in my pocket to like get it home safely.
Oh, I
But
love it.
yeah, but thank you. I'm so happy with it too, by the way. But I want to go back to the very early beginnings of Perrin
Mhm.
when you first got into art. Let's talk about where you were born, and yeah, like we're gonna go deep.
I love that. I really
Yeah.
love that. Also, something funny. So I'm cat sitting in the house that I am right now. So I rented this house, and it also came with a cat. So the cat is literally in front of the camera behind the laptop. So if you see something black just run here, it's a cat. It's not a ghost. There's nothing crazy. You're probably gonna see her pretty soon. So life story. I was born in April 1986 in Tehran, Iran. It's not Iran, it's Iran.
Yep,
And
Iran.
and I
Amir
was
taught me
born
that.
there. Right? It's so funny. I ran. I'm like, no, I don't run. It's Iran. So
Iran.
I was born there. I have a sister who is 9 years older than me. I have very supportive parents that they both really love art. Mainly my dad because he's also a poet. He used to draw when he was younger, and my whole family, we have engineering side and art side. My sister has been an artist as well. So I grew up with art and culture. Iran is a land of culture, land of art. So you doesn't matter if you want or not, you grew up with it. It's a part of you. So I think I was born with that. And at school, at home, even at any social gatherings, I always had my sketchbook. So to go back to where it started when I was like 5 or 6, before actually going to elementary school. And it started by me looking at children's books illustrations. Also, how can I stop this camera from going off?
I think it's fun. I think it's part of the podcast. I
Okay,
love it.
I'm not gonna change it.
I think
It's
it's
a new
fun.
laptop. I got it 2 days ago because my previous laptop got hacked. Thank you, hacker, whoever you are.
Oh
So I
yeah, that
needed
was
this.
awful.
Yeah.
We'll get into that too.
So my childhood was very happy. Like I think like a lot of other kids that they grow up reading books, reading watching cartoons. It was full of like cartoons and books. And my mom's cousin, who is a very known children's book illustration, was a big part of my growing up, my childhood. I loved her work, and I always wanted to be like her when I was like 5 or 6, I guess. And I used to go to her art lessons, which were mainly oil painting and acrylics. And I didn't like it because I was like, okay, this is great, but I want to be like you, because she was a fantasy children's book illustrator. And she was like, okay, do it, do like the oil painting, but also have a sketchbook to draw whatever it's in your mind. So that's how it started. I drew a lot on my sketchbooks and also on my walls in my childhood bedroom. At some point, my dad was like, okay, let's keep it. We don't need to cover it with white paint. It's your life. Draw whatever you want to draw. And the drawings grew because I was like 3 or 4 when I started that. And the more I was like growing up, the drawings were coming like higher and higher on the wall. And when I was 18, like the whole wall was covered with not only my drawings, it was also like my phone calls with my friends. And we had our whole um we had like a whole language that we made in my school with my friends. So it had also alphabets. So a lot of part of my wall was like those phone calls, conversations, everything, and a lot of drawings. So it it was always a part of me. It was always like a part of my day-to-day life to draw whatever happened that day, either as a comic or as a drawing or as anything that I could draw that with. So that's how it started.
I know this is going to sound super naive, but what was it like growing up in Iran? Not even as an artist, just growing up in Iran. I know this sounds so naive, but I know
Oh,
nothing
it's
about.
not.
Yeah.
I love talking about it because we have Western media and we have what's happening back home. It's two fully different worlds. What you see on media, I barely see back home. Like when I moved to the States, I was like, oh wow, is that my country? Because I had no idea it actually existed the way that they show it on media. The way that it is streets full of love, full of light, full of things that are happening 24/7. Most of the cities are like New York, you know how lively New York is. People are always out. Restaurants sometimes go up to like 3, 4 a.m. People love their lives because Iranians are happy people. I'm sure you know that by meeting me, Amir, and probably a lot of other Iranians in the space.
Yeah.
But
I can't
we
say enough
love
good things about you guys every time I
oh,
meet
you're
someone
so
from there.
kind.
Yeah.
We love celebrating life. And a part of that comes from our history, which goes back to like 3,000 years ago. It was always culture of hospitality, culture of friendship, culture of loving each other. And it's a big part of our day-to-day life. Our families are very tight. There are not too many families that they're not in contact, unlike a lot of different countries that I've been to. It's a very warm culture. So that's about the culture. It's culture of poetry, culture of art, culture of dance. We have like we grew up dancing every day basically. When we go to our friend's house, there's always music. There's always some like movements, and it always goes up to like 2, 3 a.m. regardless of you working the day after or not. We just want to party. We just want to have fun. But then we have a whole different life that is again the media that shows that, which is because of what happened after the revolution in the past like 40 something years. There's a lot of restrictions, obviously, a lot of freedom that we had before has been taken away from us, especially from the women. But no matter what, we're still doing whatever we want to do. We're still trying to fight with injustice and fight with like the demons that are taking over the country. And we're trying so hard to be who we used to be, despite all the pressure we have. So pressure is real. It's happening there, but also people are having their happy life still. We have crazy inflation back home, like crazy. And since I was a kid, I remember that it was happening day by day. But again, we kept things to be happy. As a child, I never really felt like I was in a country with no freedom because I could do whatever I wanted to. I went to football lessons when I was 9 years old. I I used to play paintball for like years. A lot of things that people think, oh, girls cannot do in the Middle East. No, we did all of that. And that scarf thing that people talk about, of course, in some families, but like I never grew up like having that because I had to. Like we still fight with that. So it's for me, it's when I look back to my childhood, it's a lot of fun, a lot of happy moments, but also a lot of Western influence. I grew up loving a lot of American movies. That was a huge part of my childhood. A lot of American musicians that here people in America they never heard of. It's so funny. Like I'm like, oh, I grew up listening to this band, and my friends are like, who are they? And everyone in Iran, even the small villages, they know them. So we had open doors to like different countries, even though the whole government didn't want that to happen. People still looked up on internet. Well, that's more recent, but like they wanted to learn and learn and learn. And that's yeah, that's how I grew up.
That's so it's interesting because you see what's on the media and obviously, like it's portrayed as, very oppressive. And I'm assuming, and this is obvious, I don't know, this is probably naive, but I'm assuming that like it's like New York or anything else. Like I love the camera. It's like New York or anything else. There's just bad parts and
Hmm.
there's just dangerous areas that you just don't want to go into. And then there's the good places.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Also, I have to say, I don't know. It I don't want to um make people feel bad about what I'm saying, but I'm just sharing my own experience.
Yeah,
I
please
never
do.
felt unsafe back home the way that I feel unsafe in America. I have to say
Right.
that. Like there's
No,
a
I
lot of great things happening here, but also, oh my gosh, like my childhood friend who lives in LA in the Valley, her neighbor 2 nights ago was shot because there were like robbery there. There was robbery there. I barely heard anything close to that back home. Yeah, there's a lot of like pickpocketing because of the bad situation of like financial situation back home, and I'm really sorry to see that's happening back home, but it's not as unsafe to be honest. But on media they want to show like it's war. Yeah, I know war happened there, but it's not on a daily basis.
right.
It's like twice in my entire life it happened for like few days. And when I was a kid, it happened for 8 years in certain areas of Iran. But people try to keep it safe. Like people don't make the country unsafe. It's because of the government. But like here, I feel like I really feel unsafe sometimes. In New York, I felt unsafe. In LA, I feel unsafe. So unfortunately, my experience was like full of fear. Whereas back home, despite what media shows, that was not the experience. You can
Yeah.
cut it if you want.
No, no, you don't have to cut that. I think honesty is super important, and I think like what you're saying is 100%. I mean, we're seeing it, like the
Mm,
recent, murder with, the girl from Ukraine. I mean, it's safer in a
yeah.
war zone than it was in the US for her. And
Yeah.
that's a scary thought right now, especially just with everything with the climate of America. It's a scary time. And did you grow up I mean, did you grow up in like a war zone?
No, I grew up in Tehran, and so the first 2 years of my life, it was the last 2 years of Iran-Iraq war.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't have memories of that. I only have like one scene that I remember that they attacked somewhere close to my house that all of our windows just fell. I remember that I was playing Legos with my sister, and I remember like the scream and all like glasses everywhere. That's all I remember. And I'm honestly not sure if I remember it or because my parents kept telling me about it over and over. I imagined it. I don't know, but it was a part of my childhood. My sister remembers full 8 years of that. There were days that in Iran they attacked in Tehran. Sorry, they attacked a couple of like parts of Tehran, but the main war was in the southern parts of Iran, which was Ahvaz, Abadan. There were some cities that were fully destroyed. So I have friends from those zones that they had to change their cities when they were kids, and they have really, really, really sad stories about like losing friends, family members, their childhood home. So I do, I mean, I feel how it feels like because as a kid, again, I kept hearing stories. Also, a lot of my friends were in those zones, but not myself.
Yeah, it sounds like it would just be just growing up in something like that could really, I think, like change your perspective for the future and make
Hmm.
you a stronger person, make you,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, make make you being able to handle, pressure, stress. Um, I as an artist now, so we'll fast forward a little bit while you're becoming an artist. When you went to school, as like grade school stuff like that, were you starting to make art? When did it start to come like more of this is what I want to do?
It started before going to school by going to my mom's cousin's house. only seeing their lifestyle. She's an illustrator, and her husband is an architect. So seeing that lifestyle full of art always made me feel like that would be great to be my future. I wanted to marry an architect to be exactly like in that setting because he built that house. And I wanted to be like her to always draw and like have exhibitions. So that was a childhood dream. But then I went to a scientific school from age of 10 to 17, which was like a very special school to train kids to end up in like really big universities like MIT, Harvard, to become an engineer or doctor. So I grew up in a full science environment, but deep down, like as a social, how to say that, like social life makes you want to do certain things, like become a doctor, become a lawyer, become an engineer. But deep down, it never made me happy. So it took me 7, 8 years from age of like 10 to 18 to finally realize that that's not my dream, to become an engineer and be very successful in engineering field. At the age of like 18, I decided to fully change my whole like path. Instead of going to engineering universities, go to art school. It was not easy for my parents to hear that, because for many years they thought I would be an engineer, and they were happy with that. My grades were good, and I just broke the news that I was like, I want to be an artist. So my mom for like 6, 7 months, she was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." But
Are you
also,
positive?
I know, and especially back in the Middle East, it takes a lot of courage to say that, because artists, some of them, they're very rich, they have great lives, but not all. I think in the whole world is like that. So it takes courage to say, "This is my life. I take responsibility to become a successful artist." And especially for parents, when you're 18, they're worried. They're like, "Are you sure?" So, yeah, that was the moment. Age of 18, I knew I would be an artist, and I knew that that would be my whole life. But I also wanted to keep that engineering side a little bit. So I moved to Italy, studied engineering in the end, which helped me learn Italian as a language, but that's nothing else really.
That's about it.
But it helped me a little bit. But again, after like 4 years of studying that, I was like, okay, art, art. I went back to what my intuition told me since I was a kid.
And when did you discover you had the ambidextrous talent to draw with two hands at the same time? For anyone who's listening right now, Parin draws with two hands at the exact same time to create her art, and it's fascinating. And it does it. You don't stop, right? Like you stick with the same line, so it's continuous.
Yes,
When
one
did you just?
continuous line.
Yeah, when did you discover this talent, and where did it come from?
So at first, I discovered I was left foot. So that was before my hands.
Okay.
I played football or soccer, not football. We're
Okay.
in America. So I
Yeah.
played that as a kid, and I was a goalkeeper, but a lot of times I was playing first with my left foot. I was like, what? It wasn't normal because I grew up being a right-handed. And that was the first time, so age of 11. And then when I was 18 or 19, it started with once just trying to write with my left hand, because my right hand, my wrist had a bit of injury, and I wanted to use my left hand for a commission. I can't remember even what it was, but I remember I was writing over and over, and I really loved how shaky the lines were. So it started with writing and then drawing. And once I heard from someone, from a psychologist, that if you want to connect to your inner child and your soul, you need to use your non-dominant hand, which makes sense because you don't really have control over that, and you cannot really draw something perfect with that. So it might be they talking to you. So it started at the age of 18. Did not take it serious at all. I just felt it was fun. But over the years, when I built my line drawing style, I was playing with my left hand as well. And I really loved how shaky the lines were, and how more perfect they were, because they might not look as perfect as like drawers, artists, how to call drawers. a drawing artist, they want like very smooth lines, and my left hand could not do that, but I liked those more because it was like architectural sketches that you always see those little shakes. And at some point I added these two hands to each other, and I was like, wow, this is insane. They are drawing two whole, like fully different things. It wasn't like mirroring each other. It was just completing each other, and it was a great practice to help me not to be a perfectionist anymore because I couldn't make something perfect anymore. And the imperfection in that was perfect. So it was 15 years ago when it started. Yeah.
That's so cool. What did you start with originally? Just, I know you said you were painting or drawing on the walls, but did you just kind of like start like just doodling and just gradually like figure out this method?
So I don't know if you know that part of synesthesia about me or not. A big part
No.
of my creation is because I have synesthesia. And Jake and I actually both have that. And Jake made me realize I had it too, because one day on Clubhouse, he was talking about his practice with synesthesia, which is how your brain sees audio or music. And that's what I grew up with. That's what I've always had, but I didn't know it had a term. So how it is when you hear music or when you hear people's voices or any sounds, basically, your brain feels a shape or shapes or colors. So it changes each time. And most of the drawings that I made, they change because of the music that I listen to or the environment, the sounds that is around me, or the camera that is moving. Like, that's so crazy.
I love it.
So it wasn't mainly doodling, it was whatever I felt from music that I had. Or when there is no sound, I create music here and I draw according to that. So my brain is always on, like, it's always on making noises basically. Sometimes it could be faces. I can't really remember what exactly I started the drawings with, but could be objects, could be faces, could be aliens. I drew a lot of aliens, tons of aliens, ET, aliens, spaceships. I loved outer space as a kid, and a lot of my ambidextrous drawings were just alien faces, basically.
That's funny. Um, do you think that the synthesia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Synesthesia. It took me a long time
Synesthesia.
to
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm never gonna get that. Synesthesia. Um, do you think, or how does that affect the one-line drawings?
Oh my gosh, it's a great question. Um, I have to say it's something that it affects lines and colors, obviously, because of like the notes that we have, it affects the colors. But the lines, it changes the speed of my lines. So if you look at any of my live performance, you see sometimes I'm very quick, sometimes I'm very slow, sometimes I have to like move the line the way that I usually don't if there's no music. So the waves or the waveform of the music affects everything, everything. Let's say mm, you have one of these softwares, the audio softwares like Tractor or GarageBand or any of these, and you have layers, right? Each
Yep.
layer is, you're a musician, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Each of these layers, they have different waves. And I kind of see those waves in my own way, not the way that it is visually, the way that I feel. People are all based on frequencies, and the frequency of music comes to my brain and it changes my frequency and it creates something between what I hear and what I feel and what my hands want to create. So basically, a metal band, for example, has a fully different effect on how my lines are and how thick my lines are than jazz music or piano music. Every single instrument has its effect on me. Every single frequencies changes literally everything in my drawing. But as an audience, maybe people don't even see that because they always feel I'm drawing, they always say I'm drawing faces. But how those faces were made is very different from one another.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I know, like, when like, like I'm out shooting or whatever, there would be like no music. It's just like listening to the scenery, like, and taking everything in. And I feel like for for you or Jake, that is kind of like your canvas is the music.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's so fascinating to me. And so you get out of college, right? With an engineering degree, you tell your parents I want to be an artist. How is this now? What are you going to do? Like, how is this, like, how are you going to make money? What does this apply to? Because this is such a niche form of art. You don't really, like, you don't hear a lot of ambidextrous artists that are doing one-line drawings. It's like, I know a handful. There's like Chantel Martin that does the one-line drawings. There's like a handful. So it's where, where do you go from here?
Just
What's your
before
thought
I start
process?
this,
Yeah.
so my brain is very weird how things happen there. I'm sure yeah, you know me, and now by like talking about synesthesia and all the inputs that I have, you understand like how crazy it is. Chantel Martin was
Yeah.
one of my biggest inspirations, to be honest. Like she was one of the reasons I started line drawing in a professional way, because I always drew lines, and when I saw her work 12 years ago, I was like, wow, she's successful in drawing lines. It's
Yeah.
because she's a storyteller, and
Yeah.
it's a huge part of her practice. And I always say she's not only like a painter or drawer, drawing artist, she's also a graphic designer. So I kind of had all those as well. I studied art back home. I studied design and visual communication back in Italy, which was a combination of industrial design engineering and graphic design. So I learned a lot about how a product should be in the market because of industrial design and graphic design, which was more advertisement. And I knew I could make money working at advertising agencies. And for to be very open, I loved it. I never told anyone that part of me. I always said I loved art, but I always loved being a graphic designer as well, because you have a lot of people around you, and they're desperate to see what you think about their brand and how you want to show that to people, and you have this power to put all your creativity in something that make other people happy. So it wasn't fully making art for myself, it was making art for a whole different group of people who maybe have no idea about art, and they just want to be excited about their logo, their branding. So that was my passion for maybe 10 years, because every single time that I saw that smile on people's faces, I was like, okay, I'm successful. I could do that. That business could be successful. Some of them were, some of them weren't, but I tried. And my parents were happy with that. And they were like, okay, you're an artist, you have creativity, you're putting that into your work, and you're making money. And because of that, I could travel. I moved from Italy to the Netherlands. I worked in the Netherlands for 3 years, which was the best experience of my life. I love Amsterdam. I love the Netherlands, everywhere
Me
there.
too.
It's the best. I
It's
still
the
want to move
best.
back.
It's seriously
And
the best.
let's move there.
I'm with you.
Oh gosh. And there, one thing that I learned about myself was, as much as I love graphic design, it never allowed me to be very free, because I couldn't really do whatever I wanted to. I still had a client. I still had a lot of people to, um, how to say it? Like I had a lot of people to work with, but also they were putting me in boxes, and I didn't like that. So that was the hard thing, to announce that to my parents, that I was done with advertising after like being successful in that for almost 10 years. They were like, okay, what's next? And I was like, I have no idea, because I really didn't know what I wanted. And I want to tell everyone who is watching this, I'm sure every single person, especially artists, they've been to this point that they didn't know what they wanted. They didn't know what made them happy. They hated their work. They hated everything. I remember the days that I could not look at my sketches anymore. I hated the logos I designed a year before that I loved back then. And I was very lost. I was fully like lost. So I decided to stop working as an artist, as a graphic designer at the age of like 32. I became a teacher for a few years. I loved teaching. I loved teaching. I was like, I have to do something. I want to change my whole field. And I started teaching English. I know my English is not perfect, but in Italy it was good. So I went to some like teaching courses, and then I could start teaching to the kids and to non-English speakers. And funny enough, there were a lot of British and American teachers at that school, and Italians ended up with me because I could speak Italian, and I'm also a foreigner, so I also learned English, so it was easier to teach it to them. And it was the most rewarding job in my life. It was amazing. It changed everything. So I was fully blocked in graphic design and the artist block that everybody talks about. I experienced that for a long time, for a few years. And teaching helped me to go back to my soul and to have a lot of great experiences with tons of different people there. And that allowed me to express myself better. That allowed me to express myself in more artistic ways that I never had before. And line drawings for the second time started, let's say, 7 years ago after that job. So for like, I don't know, for 5 years, I was just drawing lines, never shared it on Instagram, never shared it with anyone. And then after those few years of teaching, I was reconnected to my soul again because all of my students helped me to get back to who I was. And I started making fully different lines, fully different drawings, and I started sharing those on Instagram. Those were the ones that Keith Grossman saw. Those were the ones that Amir saw, because I made those lines not to impress anyone. It was just my art. And those were the ones that in the NFT space 5 years ago, people really liked because they were not graphic design. I didn't want to sell them. They were just my art. And it was a whole journey. I try to tell it to everyone who feel very lost at some point in their life. I want to try to tell them, you never know what you're doing, basically. Just do what you're happy with. Just do what makes your soul feel nourished and happy, and you'll find a way. And basically, NFTs brought everything I knew in engineering, marketing, communication with people, every skill that I learned in the past like 30 something years together. And I think that made me successful because of all the previous experiences and failures. Tons of artists in NFTs, they left this space after the first big fail. But because I failed so many times before that, I stayed. Every time I failed in this space, I was like, it's a part of life. So just do whatever you love. Wow, I talk a lot.
No, I love that. That's a good rant. I think there's so many good clips in there. It made me kind of think of kind of like my journey, because when I got, into photography, I had no expectations, and therefore I couldn't fail. There's
Mm,
no way, it's possible to fail if you expect nothing out of it other than to just make art. So I feel like that definitely like transferred into what you were doing, that allowed you to experiment into NFTs and just, not worry really about the failing part, because it's like, what am I doing here anyway but making art? And if this works, great. If not, I can keep going.
mhm,
Um,
exactly.
how did you find NFTs? Did you find crypto first? Was it during the pandemic? Because I remember meeting you on Clubhouse in like 2020. So it's
Yes.
like,
My
how
gosh,
did you,
5 years.
I know it's
Yeah.
crazy that it's been like 5.5 years.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
time has
I
gone by
always
so
say it
fast.
was before the Bored Ape Yacht Club. I remember that because we were in those rooms. That's
Yep.
crazy that we were before there.
I have screenshots of us in
Yeah,
rooms with like your Bored Ape PFP and stuff like that.
right. Wow, good old
Yeah.
days.
So how
How
did
it
you find it?
started.
Yeah.
It was during COVID. I was back home for a short trip, which ended up me staying there for a year because borders all got closed. And that was the second time in my life that I really had no idea what I wanted to do. 5 years ago, I was done with teaching because I taught people for like 3 years. And I was like, okay, that was rewarding, but I need something more creative. So I opened a virtual studio, branding studio with my best friend, Ty Maz. She's also a photographer who is in the NFTs. We opened this studio together to help businesses grow their business in like branding way. And it was great, but still it wasn't what I wanted. It's still happening, by the way. We still have the studio. We get one project a year, work on it really hard, but it wasn't what I really wanted to do. So I asked from the universe. I was like, I need something new. I need something that to bring all my skills together. Wow.
Whoa.
And
Just zoom
that was
out.
so cool.
I kind of like that because you zoomed out in your
Right?
mind. You zoomed out and was like,
I love this camera.
it's great.
I think I asked mainly from the universe to show me the way. And a very dear friend of mine who was also my first comic teacher, like comic strip teacher back home when I was 11. Um, I saw him back home for literally 15 minutes. He lives in America. He went back to Iran and he texted me. He was like, let's have a coffee. That 15 minutes, having one cup of coffee changed my entire life because he said, yeah, there's something called NFTs. I have no idea what it is. My nephew told me about it. I think it's good for you to read about it. Whatever he ever told me, he's called Hamid Bahrami. I always mention his name. He worked at Cartoon Network, Disney, everywhere. Whatever he ever told me, I was like, I have to look into that because he's my biggest inspiration, basically, in my life. So I wrote down NFT in Google. First thing was Clubhouse. Literally the first thing. So I had Clubhouse. I never really used it. That's how I started my NFT journey, by his words, going onto Clubhouse, meeting you there, meeting a lot of great artists there, and it was the most exciting part of my life because you know what I'm talking about. It was like people from all around the world, regardless of how successful they still were in a journey together that was just the beginning of that. Everybody was very humble. There was no ego. People were just talking to each other, making friends, sharing art. That was how it started. And I could never leave the space ever since.
Yeah, I feel the same way. There was something magical about those moments because none of us really knew each other, but there was people who were like uber famous, and then there was
Hmm.
people who were just completely unknown. And like we'd be hanging out at 3 in the morning, and like MC Hammer would be talking to us about AI, and then you go into another room, and like Dane Cook would be there. And it was just
Yeah.
like it was so interesting because you would never really like I feel like seen that in like the real world before, and here we are in like this little corner of the internet talking about the future of democratization of AI art with Paris Hilton, and it made no sense
Right?
at all.
Elijah Wood followed me on Twitter. I was like, no way, Frodo. What? That was like the moment.
I
Yeah.
forgot about him. He got into NFTs for a minute. Seth Green, so many people.
Ethereals was the project I think that he got into with on Discord, and yeah,
Yep.
a lot of like names that I could only see their movies before. I was like, wow, they're on Clubhouse. Time Magazine.
Right.
Wow. That
Right.
right?
I didn't believe it
What?
when I saw
Keith?
Keith Grossman. I didn't believe it. I thought it was honestly. I totally thought it was a scam, and I thought it was
Same.
like a. I was like, no way, is Time
Keith,
Magazine
we
like the
love you, but we
president?
thought you were a scam first. Sorry.
We love you, Keith, but we totally thought it was fake. Like, what is Time Magazine, the president, just doing hanging out with us on Clubhouse talking about NFTs?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Best days.
I remember the first time I raided his room with Nyla.
I remember that. I was
With the
there.
long neckies. You were there, right? With when Adam was
Yeah.
like hosting that room. Oh my God, that was so funny. And then Nyla ends up selling out her entire collection like that day.
Right? Oh my gosh, Nyla. That was crazy.
It was so
Wow.
crazy to see like 12-year-old kids making millions of dollars
Oh my
overnight.
gosh. It was so inspiring, so crazy. And that was the time that I realized, oh, I don't want to say we're in a simulation or anything, but how on earth that could have happened, like if there is nothing crazy about where we live in.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
it's magic. It's like none of that seemed real anymore.
No, none of it seemed real. I remember when the pandemic hit and everything shut down, I started
Mhm.
trading crypto, and then I found NFTs, and then one night I minted those bored apes, and next morning I was trading crypto. Next morning I wake up and we're trading JPEGs of apes, and I'm like, we're in a simulation. None of this
Right?
is real.
Exactly. Yeah, I still feel like we're in a simulation, but
Well, I
yeah.
think that's why it's so like deeply like ingrained in the roots of our DNA and why we can't really leave because no
Hmm.
matter what, we had those times, those like roots of those like beginning early times. And even though we always want them to come back, we have like little spurts of them. Like we have little pieces in our group chats or like, an open edition, momentum will come in and then everybody starts minting opens. It's just like, it's still
Yeah.
there, right? It's like just still little spurts. Um, I remember like we wouldn't even sleep back then. Like we would just sit on stages and talk
Oh, yes.
all night.
Yep.
Uh, do you feel that although that was obviously like fueled by a pandemic, it was, so many things, inflation, nobody knew what was happening with the economy, the government wasn't giving us money, we didn't know what we were supposed to do. There was like such a perfect recipe for disaster at that moment.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah.
Do you think, like, do you see us heading towards not like another bull run, but like, do you see us kind of heading towards maybe a normalization of where NFTs are just accepted as art, and that's just kind of like the commonality of how art is distributed?
Oh, totally. Yeah. One recent thing that I experienced that really brought a lot of light to my life was being at the Museum of Art and Light, actually,
Mm.
because it's a museum, right? The second floor of the museum is filled with great, great like masterpieces from Picasso, from Juan Miro, from a lot of real traditional artists in the world, a lot of like biggest inspirations. And the third floor is, or I think the third floor was that. The second floor is my art, Sasha Styles, Des Lucre's, a lot of NFT artists. I don't call ourselves NFT artists, but I would say the artists that they entered the digital era. So when you see these two floors in a museum together, and then you see a lot of collectors and art lovers, age of like 70 to 95 years old, coming to that museum to see and appreciate digital art and ask a lot of questions about how NFTs work. How can we have that? That was what happened a week and a half ago when I was in Kansas. And it was so beautiful to see how people that age that have spent all their lives collecting art, um, funding the museums, help artists to be more known, to see them loving this new era, new generation of art was very, very, it was like incredible to see. And that gave me a lot of excitement about what we are moving towards to, because the whole world is changing. And regardless of us wanting that or not, or myself that I love the 80s, we're still moving forward. We can't just stay in the 80s. Everything has been changing. AI is a big part of our lives, even as a big part of those people who I met when they like in the age of 80 or 90. So digital world is there, AI is there, and obviously that has a huge effect on art as well. The way that kids nowadays are growing up, seeing art, appreciating art. A lot of them know about NFTs. So it's definitely the future. It's going to be much more common and normal in the next 10 years, I would say, or 5 years. And we're not early anymore. We used to say we're early, but now I don't think we are that early anymore because mass adoption has been happening as well. Maybe not everyone in the world knows about it, but sooner or later it's going to happen, regardless of what traditional people want.
Yeah. Do you think it's just, well, like I see it as the point where when like screens become indistinguishable between prints and screens, and you can just, put any print up on the screen and it's going to look exactly like it would if you had just printed that out. Do you think that's kind of the point where, like, for example, I look at, like we grew up with MP3s,
Mhm.
but you'll never hear a kid say the word MP3, right?
Right?
And you never even hear them say digital music. It's
Yeah.
just music. And so that is because of not only like what Napster did, but what Spotify did to, onboard a platform where digital music is just as prevalent as, your local CD store, but just opens up accessibility. And I think
Mhm.
that's kind of like the benefit of the NFTs is just, permanence, accessibility. But when you think about how the future will pan out, I think we'll get to a point where they're indistinguishable between prints, and that will probably be the point where we onboard the entire world, and it will no longer just be digital art or NFTs. That'll just be a dead word, and it will just be art. Do you kind of see that's where we're headed?
100%. Yes. I don't think
Okay.
if anyone is going to use NFT word anymore. We talked about it a few years ago, and we all believed in that NFT as a word is going to fully disappear. Also, Web3, it's just going to be a common thing, as you said, art, just art, and then digital art. They don't say it anymore because everything is going to be digital, so it's
Yeah,
going to be art.
with the future being like digitized and tokenized. Wow, hold
I
on.
like the music.
Thanks. That's my dog's alarm for uh his pill.
Oh, is he okay?
Yeah, he's epileptic. He has seizures. So we have to give him pills every 8 hours. Luckily, my wife takes care of the pill at 3 o'clock.
Oh,
But yeah, it's like we have to be on top of that. It sucks, but he's fine. He doesn't have any seizures anymore. So
that makes me
yeah,
really happy.
I know, me too. We have like 4 rescues, and it was just like, thank God we don't have,
Oh.
yeah, we don't have that to worry about with him because it definitely is like awful.
Don't forget to send it to me. Send a photo of them. Send the
I
photos
will,
because I work
I
on
will
the
send.
dogs collection and cats collection. So
Talk about that. What dogs and cats collection?
yes,
What's that?
it's the most fun project I've ever worked on. Like so much fun. I'm working on a whole project that's going to be community like interactive project to choose between team dogs and team cats, and
Okay.
there are between 50 or to 75 pieces from each dog or cat category that I'm making super funny cartoons from each one of them that you can see line drawings. It's still me, but also that illustration part of me is a big part of this collection and some stories about each one of them. Each one of these cats or dogs were inspired by someone's cats or dogs or my own imagination. So a lot of people sent me their pets photos. Those are part of the collection. And also the teaser is going to be videos of all these pets. So please go ahead, send me any funny videos that you have or photos from them. So yeah, it's going to be released after my museum collection release, not before. It's going to take a long time to create a website and all that, but it's a really, really, really fun project. And hopefully it's going to be a book later, t-shirts, everything.
I feel like that'd be the coolest coffee table book.
Oh my God. I agree. It's going to be like each one of them that I'm drawing, I have a huge smile. Like it's like this. I'm like, oh my God, these are so funny.
I feel like that's such a great way to honor your pet too, to have Parin draw it and just put it in a
Oh.
like a book to have it memorialized.
Oh yes.
You did the entire collection for Moonpave, like all their PFPs.
Yes.
When you get hired for a job like that, um, and not like I want to downplay it because it's like such a cool gig, like to get something like that. But does it feel at all like you're going back to graphic design, or does it feel at all like a job, or does it feel like, oh my God, I get to do what I love, which is this, this one line drawing. This is not work anymore. This is fun.
Well, I got the job from Keith Grossman. I
Shout out to
love
Keith,
Keith. Shout out to Keith. He changed a lot of artists' lives, including myself, like
including
fully,
mine.
entirely.
Yep.
He's incredible. And I don't think if there's ever enough how to say that, like doesn't matter how much I say thank you, Keith, it's not enough. So the job came from Keith, and he's always been super kind to me. He's been super supportive since day one, basically. And also a few other jobs came from him, not jobs like NFT projects, timepieces, Galaxy with Mike Novogratz, nice. Mike Novogratz that I worked with Jake on it and William. It was incredible. This was the third project that Keith asked me to do that. And it was not like any other jobs before because first of all, it came from Keith and he never ever told me what to do, what not to do. He always left me be as free as I wanted to create whatever basically I wanted. He believed in my creativity and everything. So there was no pressure on like making it the way he wanted or anyone else in the team wanted. I just met a lot of team members at MoonPay A lot of photos were sent to me, 100 something photos. So it was very fun. It wasn't like any, again, job, because I could kind of meet a lot of people, even though I never really met them in person. It was their photos. So it was fun because I love people. It was all like based on people's faces. And like day by day, I was feeling that I knew Moonpay more and more by drawing them more. And it was so fun seeing a lot of them at the end of the project on a Zoom call. It was a whole all hands meeting, and seeing the faces there, I was like, oh my God, I know everyone. It was really, really fun. So it was one of the best projects I've worked on. And and it also made me like the color purple. I never did before, and I really loved it after.
Did you listen to music at all when you were doing these?
Tons, tons. You can see the faces, how they change, because some like batches are with jazz music, some of them are with classical music, some of them Persian music. So the faces are different.
What was Keith's song?
Oh, Keith. So Keith, I actually did not make a new one. I made the previous version
Oh,
that
that's
was his
right.
PFP for years.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
just changed the background of them.
That I remember that collection. That was in like 2021 or 22 when you started
Hmm.
just making people's PFPs and everybody
Yes.
was wearing them on Clubhouse.
Oh, yes.
What inspired that? What was behind the idea of that, just kind of to distribute your art? Because I feel like with what we did with NFTs, and Dave actually brought this up when we were in the interview last week.
Hmm.
It's very much about networking. It's very much about
Yes.
getting as many eyes as possible on your art to not only distribute it, but to just not only share it, but to sell it. So was kind of like the idea of the marketing. What was behind? And just to give everyone an idea, like Parin in 2021, I think it was, went on Clubhouse and literally just started taking people's photos, avatars, and creating these really beautiful mints that were just one line drawings of their PFPs.
Yes. So the idea first was not to sell them. I love community. I love people. I grew up because my dad is exactly the same. He has million friends. And when I say million, I actually mean that. He has friends all around the world. Back when he's 80 years old, and he made new friend last week. Like he has tons of friends, and he loves, again, people. So I got it from him for sure. And I get too excited when I'm with people. I cannot live in places with no one around me. I hate that. It makes me very depressed. So imagine being in a very depressing time, which was COVID, in your house, in quarantine, not being able to even see your parents, and then suddenly meet a lot of new people. And as someone who has synesthesia, the voices, every day, a lot of voices. Each voice was like a new data for me, new excitement, new ups and downs. Some voices were not really nice. I was like, oh, I don't like them. 99% were amazing. So it was just like tons of new data basically for my brain. And all that I could do was to take this data out, which was drawing faces that I never met, and they had actually no PFP. So that's how it started. Based on people's voices, I thought, okay, let's guess how they could look like. I remember the first person was Early Worm, who is a great, great artist. I really like his work.
I
I
remember
had
Early
no
Worm.
idea how he looked like.
Yep.
And it started with his face, and he only spoke once in one room for literally a minute.
Yeah.
In one of my drop parties, he never spoke anywhere. I was like, wow, he finally talked to us. That was so cool. So let's draw his face. I drew his face, and four other people, Sheila Darcy, I think I was the second one. I can't remember. Or
Sheila.
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, Sheila. Maybe it was Sheila. Um, five people that, oh no, Sheila, I actually knew how she looked like. So can't remember the first 4 minutes, but I didn't know the faces. So that's how it started. And I thought about a game to mint those faces and ask people to find their faces. It was called Find Your Face, because they had no idea who I drew. It was number one, number two, number three, and number four, and number five, five each week. And the funny thing was, Early Worm actually found himself. I have no idea how he guessed I drew him,
Yeah,
but he found himself. And later, when I saw him, his face, it was nothing like him, but what I drew. But he DM'd me. He said, "That's exactly how I feel I look," and I drew him. So
that's
that's how
cool.
synesthesia basically works because of the voices. And it got really fun because I used to tweet like, "Who you think the next five are gonna be?" So the first 15 or 20 did not look like them because they were from people that I didn't know how they looked. But then later, people updated their PFPs from monkeys to their faces. It was bored ape at the beginning, obviously. And I could see them, and then it became like a more community-based project of me appreciating the presence of a lot of people and having something that is immortal because I never wanted to forget those days, not only for me, for anyone. And that was the very first community PFP project of NFTs, I guess, with the Clubhouse people. So that's how it started. And then I got commissions. People asked me to draw them. I didn't really want to do it that way because I was not looking for money for that collection. I wanted to just have something coming out of my emotions and synesthesia and voices, and then I ended that.
And what took you, so you started that, what took you to your next project? Where did you just start planning things out? Were you planning things out from like day one and kind of like incorporating it, or just kind of like play it as you go?
I had zero plans,
I
zero
love that.
plans. Like I had no idea what I was doing in terms of like marketing. I really never thought about marketing my work in the NFTs. A big part of my success and failures at some points was because I didn't have marketing. Success was because people knew that and they knew those were just my drawings that I loved to share. And
Yeah.
so many people wanted to just support my drawings. So many people genuinely loved my drawings and they hung it on their walls. And then at some point I had to do marketing, which I didn't because I was still in those like lovely days of Clubhouse and I forgot that it's still business. So I feel like I failed a few times because of not having marketing. But at the same time, because I was very much community-based artist since the day one, I always had people who supported me and collectors that they genuinely liked me and my journey.
What did your parents think about what you were doing? That's what I'm the most
Oh
interested
my
in.
gosh. My
I,
dad still doesn't know what I'm doing, to be very
I,
honest.
you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Iranian parents are probably like strict in the sense that they, like they want their kids to go to college. They want
Oh yeah.
probably just like any parent, obviously. But I feel
Yeah.
like Asian households are more stricter about their, their kids. Like they
Yes.
push, reading. It's non stuff. So I feel like that's probably maybe similar to what you grew up with. So
Yes,
what?
I was very much like a black sheep in my whole family, like entire relatives. Everybody went to the university, became what to say, engineer, lawyer, doctor.
Yep.
Everyone got married at the right time, lived in either Iran or another country. Like everything was very normal, except me. I was like, no, I'm different.
Yeah,
I'm
what did they
different
think?
because I was.
Like, so here you are during the pandemic talking on some app to a bunch of strangers,
Yeah, they
telling
they
your
they
parents.
really thought I was crazy at the beginning. And at that point, my parents could fully trust me with my decisions because I was successful in what I was doing before. So they were like, whatever she's doing, she would be fine. And I also lived alone abroad for like 10 years prior. So they were fine. They were like, okay, these people are not criminals. She knows that. It's fine. But in terms of knowing what I was doing, so there was a time that I got featured on OpenSea front page. That fully changed everything because you remember those early days being featured on a
Yep,
platform's front page. My gosh, that was like the
huge.
that was the dream for any
Yeah,
artist in the NFTs. I sold my entire collection. It was sold out without even me knowing that.
let's
It just
go.
got sold out literally in a
Wow.
day. So I had to mint more because I was still featured there and I couldn't have my collection sold out. And those days I did have a plan on minting those pieces like a month after. That's when I had market. That's why I'm telling you, I didn't have marketing all the time. But when I did it, the market didn't allow me to really stick to the plan. I had marketing plans. It was fully gone because I had to mint everything I had on OpenSea because people would DM, they were like, we want your art, we want your art. And they didn't want to have it like for 10 ETH because the secondary was like 10 ETH, 12 ETH, whereas the primary was like 0.1, 0.2. So I minted editions there. And I never forget that night. I was back home at my mom's house. My wallet was $200, 300, 400, 800, 900, 2,000, 10,000. It was 50 ETH in 5 days. And I just sat down. I was like, okay, what to do? Buy an ape or help people. So that was insane. At that moment, my mom was like, so is that money? And I said, yes, that's money. You can see that. The dollar sign was there because she had no understanding of crypto at all.
Yeah.
And I explained to her how it worked. And I said I could cash out all of this to my Italian bank and I could buy a house with it, at least one house in Italy. And she was like, okay, do it. I was like, no, because that's not my dream. My dream was, since I was a very little kid, was to help people back home because I knew there are a lot of less privileged areas in Iran. And my dream was to build a hospital, to build a school. And as cliche as it sounds, it's the only goal I have in my life.
I love that.
Like it's my goal is to become a really good artist, mainly a good person, to have people remind me in good ways when I'm dead, and then to have my art move people when they look at it, and then to be able to build good things for people who cannot have it, who can't have access to that. So the moment that my parents saw that money, went to the villages and they saw the photos of the things that happened in those villages, potable water for like 5,000 people, unlimited breakfast for the rest of their life for so many students back in those villages, new shoes, new socks, new houses, new clinics, a lot of things. That was when my parents were like, okay, bravo. You did something that you always dreamt of without our money, without even engineering money. It was all from your art. And obviously, thanks to the NFTs and crypto money and all that, tons of people's lives have changed. So that was the moment that they were like, okay, we know what you're doing. Before that, they loved my art, but they didn't really get what I was doing because it was hard to explain like what NFTs are. But then I was like, I'm doing this, I'm helping people. That was it.
That's so beautiful. I honestly I didn't know that that you donated that money.
Oh, I donated almost all of them.
That's wow. Then what was it like? So fast forward, you get removed from OpenSea
Yay, thank you,
and
OpenSea, wherever you are.
right, and you get banned.
Yes.
Um, I know why, but let's talk about what happened and what was that like? I mean, literally being on the front page of OpenSea to now being completely removed as an artist and banned and not even being able to access the website.
So I was never married. I never really experienced like divorce or anything like that. But I feel like the way that people explained how divorce is, that was
Mhm.
how I felt. I felt like I was like so high up there and so happy. And I really realized, oh, I made it finally after like 20 something years of work, literally nonstop work towards my goal. And then it was all taken away from me
In a
because of
second.
where I come from in a second. And the reason that I think it destroyed me obviously for so many reasons, but mainly was emotionally because I thought Web3 was not like real life because from someone who lived in Iran and had a lot of limitations, finally finding somewhere to be who she was and to be that person that she always dreamt of and to be able to like gain money out of that to help people, that was all taken away from me. So emotionally, I felt devastated, terrible, because it was also right after my show in Sharjah that I was there. It was a great show. I traveled back to Italy, turned on my phone, and I saw a duplicate of my project of my whole collection on OpenSea right after I got banned. So I got banned. Someone recreated my whole collection, sold a lot of them under my
Wow.
name, and my collectors were like, "What's happening?" I realized they banned me. That was a lot of like emotional roller coaster, like having a great show in Sharjah. 24 hours later, you're gone, basically gone. And I did not have anything on super rare. I only had 5 pieces on foundation, and my whole life was minted on OpenSea's contract. So the first thing that made me feel terrible was, okay, what can I do with my collectors? Because they spend money on me and their pieces is gone. Regardless of like how I felt about myself and like how I felt like, okay, my whole career is gone. I was feeling so embarrassed and
They
bad.
deleted your art?
Yeah, there was no art. There was nothing because it was all minted on their contract. So there was basically nothing. So my collectors, there were a lot of collectors back in England or in the States that they spent tons of money on my work and they loved it. And we had great relationship with each other. And they were like, okay, we don't have your art. So again, Keith wrote an email to OpenSea. Farouk and Keith both wrote tweets on their Twitters. I couldn't really write down how I felt. I was so furious, so sad, so like dopamine crash, everything terribly, terribly, terribly down. And I saw first Keith and Farouk, they wrote about me, and then almost every single person I knew in this space wrote about me on their Twitter because I was one of the first people who got banned and one of the most like successful Iranian artists who got banned as well. 2,000 likes, God knows how many retweets, everything. Like I was so grateful for the community once again for what they did in supporting me, but I also hated what happened because of where I come from.
Mhm.
How can I change it?
Right,
Also, I love where I come from. I like being Iranian is amazing.
right.
Why do you ban me? They brought me back after months, but my momentum was gone. Emotionally, I was destroyed. For like 4 months I couldn't work. I couldn't draw a line. I really couldn't. And you know how 4 months is in NFTs is like 10 years. You lose
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Building your career again, which was based on your work, going back on spaces, talk to people, it was really hard. Really, really, really hard. So yeah. And it happened to a lot of other artists too.
Did they ever apologize? Did they ever explain?
So obviously it's their like it's how it works, right? Having something based in the US and because of the sanctions, it's nothing that they wanted to do. It was their rules of a company which has banks attached to it, basically.
Mhm.
So the employees were very nice. Every person I met from OpenSea, they were really nice. We had
Amazing.
Zoom calls, they apologized. I had zero problem with them. It's how sanctions work, and it has affected my entire life since I was a kid. It's not the first time. People died in Iran because they couldn't have like medicine because of those 600 items that are in the sanction list. They couldn't have the first parts of the medicine to make that medicine back home. So tons of people die every day because of the sanctions. So I grew up knowing what sanctions mean. But Web3, in my opinion, was different from real world. But in the end, they're all like everything is the same. So they were very nice to answer your question. They were very apologetic. I don't know how to say that word. But they couldn't change the fact that I'm Iranian. So yeah, it happened.
How long did it take to get your account restored?
5 months, but also, or like 4 months, but
Oh,
also very recently, just a few months ago, I realized a lot of my pieces are gone again. So they restored my account like 3 years ago, and then again, a lot of art is gone. I have no idea what happened. It's gone, basically, again.
wow. That I feel like that's a lot to take in as an artist. It's almost like your work has been burnt, but not only that, um, it seems like you take it as though like your credibility was burnt as well. Like it felt like
Yeah.
you affected your collectors.
Yeah, because
So,
even if it wasn't a part of like what I did, I still felt
right.
guilty.
And we're sensitive artists. That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's my fault. It's my fault. It's not.
Right. And especially like when we were onboarded into the space with the idea of like distribution of art, democratization, permanence, all these things that we were kind of hoping for. Um, do you think that it has in a way affected how now you navigate not only like the Web3 space, but just art in the traditional world? Did this, did you learn something valuable enough that it's kind of changed the way how you operate?
You mean like being banned and
Yeah,
like
like so
having
like and what I mean by that is like for example, everything was on OpenSea, so they owned all your contracts.
Mhm.
Um if you had it on Manifold or anywhere else, it would have been obviously, safe and protected. What I would say like what did this do in effect of like how you navigate like for the future of what you want to do with your art? Because I feel like if I were in your shoes, that would have really messed me up for months.
it did.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like, what did you do in the future it's not even like a warning to other artists, but just kind of like, how did it just affect like the way you strategize, how you mint, how you even handle traditional art in the future, for example, galleries or contracts or anything?
So the first thing that happened right after that was me minting everything on Manifold, as you said,
Right.
everything. So that was the first lesson for sure. And also those days, I have to say, like, it wasn't like now that Manifold was the main thing that everybody knew about. It
Mhm.
was the beginning of Manifold. I had no idea how it worked. This for like 4 years ago almost.
Same.
And yeah, it wasn't easy. And we are still learning. I'm still learning.
Mhm.
I got hacked 2 weeks ago. I'm still learning. So the whole life, I think, is a school basically, and NFT is a more MP3 school. Newer generation doesn't understand, but I say it's like 2,000 lessons in one. But
Yeah.
it taught me that to always have the position of what you have. Try to have it in your own hands, and if you have to write a contract, just do it yourself, and don't trust any big companies basically, because they're still in this world, because they still have an office here, they still are connected to bank system. You can't really trust Web2 companies, even though they're called Web3. And the other thing it taught me was not to, apart from like practical parts of art and how to mint and etc. It taught me how not to put everything in one basket, basically,
Right.
because I'm a huge believer of the NFTs, but I also feel like in this world we have a lot of other things that we can have our creativity in, which could be gallery shows, could be performance art that is fully off blockchain, or a lot of collaborations that are not necessarily in the NFT space. So I put my whole time and energy into NFTs, but now I'm like 50% other projects that are in real life, such as again graphic design, illustrations, everything that is out of this space, and then a big part of that, sorry, half part of that in this space.
Um, do you feel like that your failures have kind of led you up to this point, but in the sense that I feel like for me, like I try to constantly fail because it teaches me valuable lessons that eventually
Yeah.
help me succeed. What do you feel like for the hack that just recently happened? What happened, and
Oh
and
gosh.
like yeah, how did you move forward with that?
um. Yeah. So heck. It was terrible. I do have almost all my assets in a ledger. Like I have a cold wallet. Obviously, that was the first thing I did, and I did have another wallet which I have all my art there. So that was the main wallet that I minted all my art, and it did have a lot of NFTs such as the Yetis. All of my Yetis were
Oh
gone, unfortunately. I
no!
know, I know. I'm gonna buy like five because I had
I was about to
five. I
say
love
that's
them.
like $100 worth of Yetis, probably.
I know, but I love them. I loved my Yetis. Super
I
Yetis were
love
my
my Yetis.
favorite project, you know that.
Love my
And
Yetis.
That really broke my heart. Like, I didn't care about money that I lost because money I'm working, I'm young, I'm still working, and money comes and goes. That's life. Sometimes you have a lot, sometimes you have none.
Mm,
But they stole my memories from that wallet. And how it happened was I received a DM from Monica Rizzoli, and that was a day after I announced my museum project. So right after, I got a lot of DMs from artists like congratulating me, and then this DM from Monica Rizzoli, who never um, DM'd me before, and she actually never followed me before. So she followed me right after the museum show, which was still, it made sense because I was
right.
like, okay, probably she saw my art. And I followed her back, and she asked me to be a part of her upcoming exhibition in Lisbon. She lives in Portugal, I guess. She's from Portugal. And I was like, okay, that's legit. And she asked me when I was free for a meeting. So I gave her my Calendly. We had a meeting. It was early morning. I had no coffee. I literally woke up, went on a meeting, and turned on my computer, received this link from them for a website. Click on that. I see a kind of like Zoom call. It wasn't Zoom or any other thing, but the fact that I saw it from Monica Rizzoli it didn't even cross my mind for a second that there could be hackers. I don't know
Hmm.
why I didn't think about it, but it was from a known sender. And I saw three people's names that I knew in the video call: Roger Dickerman, Rebecca Rose, Ms. Mendez. All of them were there, and I couldn't see their faces. So I came back to Twitter. I DM'd. I was like, I see the mic going on and off, but I can't hear anyone and I can't see them. So Monica said, download this app. Probably
Oh
your
no.
browser doesn't show it. And I downloaded the app. I asked from ChatGPT, is the app legit? ChatGPT was like, it was Lumena, and ChatGPT was Lumina was legit, but it didn't tell me it might be a virus or a scam. I was like, okay, ChatGPT is not updated. And I downloaded that, and I didn't even realize they hacked me because the meeting was over. It took me 30 minutes to go and do all that. A few days later, I saw it on the activities of my wallet that everything was drained. That's how I realized. I didn't even realize it right away. My boyfriend sent DM to Roger, and Roger was like, "Oh, I wasn't there. I wasn't on the show." And I was like, "What?" Because he was with me, and he asked from Roger like offline to see if he was on the meeting, not sure on the meeting or not. And Roger, few hours later, said he wasn't there. That's where I realized, oh my gosh, Roger was not there. It was just a screenshot. That's it. That's how they got me.
That's awful. What did that feel like? Did you just feel like you just lost everything again?
Yeah, second divorce.
Yeah, I was going to say like just a second divorce violation.
Yes. It felt terrible. Again, the money part, I was like, whatever. If they need that, just use it. But it's my art, and it's always connected to my first ever art I ever minted. So I don't know what to do with that. They got my Tezos, everything. Like my whole computer was hacked. So they had access to my passwords. So they basically, I think, used my computer the way that I use it. They just went to the browsers, used everything.
Yeah, it seems to me like the most important critical lesson of this space is education.
Yes.
But even in that situation, it's almost impossible to avoid because it's like just this social engineering manipulation where it's like, even if you were just deeply educated in our space, you could even get psyoped.
Yes, I was so proud of, oh, no one hacked me for the first 4 years, and boom, right after.
Oh, that's so, yeah, I'll admit something. In 2020, I almost entered my entire seed phrase in a Binance support request.
No, you
I,
didn't. You
I
didn't. You
was like,
almost, right? Oh my God.
yeah, I was like halfway through it, and then I'm like, why do they need my seed phrase?
Oh my gosh. Oh my
I know.
gosh. Yeah.
So I feel like all of us at some point get caught up. Like I actually did the same thing you did too, where I downloaded some software and like got up and caught up in a meeting. But luckily I did it on one of my dummy computers
Oh,
without
good. Ooh.
without anything on it. So it was like they got nothing. It's like,
Okay, thank God. That makes me
yeah,
happier.
yeah, but it's still, you just don't know because there's a lot of opportunities I feel like that pop up, especially in our like ecosystem because we're so new to it. And so
Mhm.
if you were early, there's no really experts, but there are people who kind of understand and can navigate the space. So it's not surprising if like you get a DM from Time Magazine saying, "Hey, we want to have a meeting. Let's chat." And it's like, okay, cool. I'm not going to say no to this, and just
Exactly.
hopefully it's not a scam.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
How do you?
that's how do you know that?
Yeah. How do you know that? And how do we tell people like to onboard? Like, how do you tell your friends, hey, onboard into this space, but also don't ever get hacked. Don't ever leave your phone on. Use a VPN. Like, it's so much.
Yeah. It's a lot, and again, in this life, we keep learning every day. There are tons of lessons in life and any any new world that we enter, like NFTs or any other thing. Like it's always there are lessons and over and over and over. But the thing is, these lessons are so necessary to take right away when you enter because by clicking on the wrong link, which is happening every day on Twitter, your whole computer is going to be hacked. Your whole life sometimes is going to be duplicated in another person's phone. So it's like living in the world that you know the risks. If you move to New York, you know the risk. Like you cannot go out at certain time in certain neighborhood. So
Mhm.
you need to learn all of that before you go to New York, for example. Well, New York is just one example. I love New York, but like in general, you know what I mean? So
Why do you
before
love New
entering
York?
I
After
do, but I also left it and I miss it. It's I have love-hate relationship with you.
Do you just like big cities or
I was born in Tehran, which has 18 million of people. It's
wow.
a huge city. Is bigger than New York. It's a really big city. But living in Italy in a really tiny city called Turin, which has 800,000 people, made me forget about my life, but it was. But I feel like now, by living in LA, which I'm very tired of living in LA already, I need cities again. So I miss New York and I love Austin. So
I loved Austin for the
it's
amazing
amazing.
food and the tacos.
Oh yeah, I loved it too.
The tacos were
I
so
probably
good.
am gonna move there like very soon.
I think that's a
LA,
good call.
no, not for me. So LA is a huge
Uh,
city, but it's not a city at all. It's not a city. LA people, I love you all, but it's literally a highway with some packets of like houses. That's it. That's it.
I can't do big cities. I like I'll go to New York and I'll
Yeah.
visit Keith or whatever, and it's just so overwhelming for me. It's like
Yeah,
the
same.
fast pace, yeah, the yelling, and then like I realize like I'm walking down the road and I'm like eating pizza, and then it starts raining, and I'm like, oh cool, it's rain, and then I look up and I'm realizing all the rain that's coming down is just literally coming from these rusted out towers and buildings that's just
Yay!
dripping onto my pizza, and I'm like, well now my pizza's like covered in pigeon poop. Like this is awesome.
Exactly. And it's the dirtiest city I've ever been to. And I
It's
traveled a
so
lot.
disgusting.
It's like mice everywhere, and you pay taxes this much. It doesn't make any sense at all.
I
Garbage
I don't get
bags,
it.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Like and then prices of the houses. It's not a place that you pay like 200 per month, and
No,
yeah, it's dirty. It's like 3,000 for a small
for a
studio,
closet.
and then I saw okay, the insects that I saw in an apartment in New York, I never saw before, and I'm like, why in Brooklyn? Ugh, it's terrible. Anyways,
It no, it's disgusting. I was there like maybe a couple months ago, and I'm walking down to Keith's new building, the Moonpay building, the
yeah.
headquarters, and I step in a dead bird just like on the road, and
Oh
just people are just
gosh.
and it's in the middle of a festival, like the middle of a street festival where you would never expect you to just walk over, and I'm just
Oh
like
gosh.
look at my shoes. There's just like organs all over the bottom of my foot. I'm just like I hate this city.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
It's like
gosh. Yeah, it's
I was like
so
so
dirty.
gross.
Austin was very clean though. I remember Austin, the places that I've been to, incredibly clean. So hopefully it's gonna change my idea about big cities. I don't know.
Yeah, I like Austin. I think like what I love, like I live in Vegas and I
Mhm.
love Vegas so much. And Keith gives me so much shit. He's like, you live in just a dumpster. And I'm like, I don't know how you
Keith
live in.
wants to make you and Farouk feel terrible. I know,
It doesn't matter
about
what it is.
everything. Yeah.
He'll like text me, just you're fat. I'm like, really?
I love Keith. He's
I
so
love him
funny.
so much.
And I love
But
you two together. It's always the highlight of my like NFT rooms or oh, you two are so funny together.
I feel like if we do a podcast together, we should just have Muppets replace us, the old man Muppets,
Yeah.
to just
Please
bicker.
do that.
But it's like yeah, I'll go out there and I absolutely am like this is just too much. I'll come back to Vegas and even though like everyone's like how do you live there? There's just slot machines and it's just it's just the strip, but I have access to the best restaurants. Like
Yeah.
some, like some of the best chefs live here. I go to the airport, it takes 5 minutes to get in and out of. There's no traffic.
Love it.
I have
Love it.
all the access of a big city without actually having to live in a big city.
That's great. That's what you
It,
want.
right? And
Exactly.
the best part is everybody has to come to Vegas at some point. So I will
Yeah.
always see, like Keith will be here in a month. I'll see Keith.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah. It's like everybody has to eventually come to Vegas. So it's like no matter what,
Yeah.
it's like you and Jacob, you're gonna come here. You're like, I can't wait to
I
visit you.
cannot wait. Seriously.
It's like that just happens. So it's like
Yeah.
it's funny. It's like I always talk about like I'm gonna leave Vegas. I'm never probably gonna leave here.
But were you born in Vegas?
No, I was born in Colorado and then moved to like
Oh,
California and Arizona. So like I lived in LA for a while,
yes,
lived in
yes.
Central Coast. I actually left LA or like Central Coast because it was just so expensive. And that's when I ended up in Vegas. I was like,
Yeah. Oh,
this
Vegas
seems like
is cheaper? I always thought it's
yeah,
very expensive.
that's what everyone
Really?
thinks, right? Like it's just crazy. Groceries are cheaper here. Homes are cheaper here. Rent is cheaper here.
Much
It's
better then.
Yeah, and when you're like move here and you're homeless and you don't have any money, it's like the safest place possible because you can sleep in casino parking lots where security is 24/7. Your
I
car is
love
being
that.
watched. It's cameras everywhere. There's no more place like more secure than a casino.
That's good. That's so good. I have to come visit. Maybe I just moved to Vegas instead of Austin. Who knows?
I'm telling you, I feel like you'd visit it. We don't have the culture of Austin, but
Mhm.
for like the availability of just having a place where you can live cheap and have an access to an airport that costs you $50 to pretty much get anywhere. Because we're like a central hub.
Wow.
I feel like not
Yeah,
like yeah, of like all the main access points we need to get to LA. It takes me about 5 hours to get to New York. It's like, I don't know, man,
that's
this is
so
the
good.
vibe.
I love that. I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
soon. Hopefully soon I will be there and then God knows. I have my life in suitcases in the past 15 years, so I'm just like a nomad.
Why Austin? What is it about Austin?
I went there 5, 6 months ago, I think it was, and it reminded me a lot of where I grew up. It's a great combination of trees and parks and a lot of modern culture, which is very much like Tehran.
Yeah.
And it has the city vibes and also like older parts of the town, and you see people everywhere. People are so nice there. Great food, great food, and it was clean, really clean. So I like cities that I can walk anywhere without having dead pigeons under my foot. And it doesn't really matter how many great opportunities I have in that city. I still want to live like a decent human somewhere that is clean. And it also offers like the first things that you need to live in a place, which is public transport, which is like good humans to be friends with, music scene. I love concerts. I love music. I can't live without music.
The
Here in
music scene
LA,
there. Oh
it's
my God.
insane. Exactly. In
So good.
LA, oh my gosh, I have to pay like two. I don't drive yet in LA. One of the problems is that. But also,
Yeah.
even if I drive, I don't want to drive all the time. I want to walk. I like walkable places because I grew up in Italy and in Tehran, and I walked in a lot of like areas. I just like to see humans around me. In LA's houses, 15 minutes of drive for a cup of coffee, like it doesn't make any sense. The amount of
No.
money I paid on Uber just to literally have like a matcha latte somewhere far from my house, For like a matcha latte, but it's literally $50, $60 of Uber to go back and forth. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And
No.
Austin was opposite. And it was clean, nice buildings, very nice places to hang out. And I don't have my family here. So I need to be somewhere that I can be supported by at least its city, like to see human beings. Otherwise, I get so depressed. And LA is the worst place to be alone. Financially, not having your family, it's so expensive
So
for
expensive.
nothing. It doesn't bring you back. The money that you spend on, if the food was good and healthy and like great for my life, yes, I would pay for that. But I'm paying for something that makes me feel sick all the time.
Yep.
The really expensive houses, like what I get in return with this money isn't worth it. So, nope,
Yeah.
buy LA. And it's really dirty.
I totally get it. Like LA is
Yeah.
packed full of people. It's expensive as hell. It's a beautiful place to live. The weather's incredible. You got the beach, but
Yeah.
ultimately, like it's unless you're like a multi-millionaire and you can buy a house in Malibu, and even then
Even
it's hard to
then,
live. Even then
even
it
there,
burns
I
down.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Exactly. It burns down. Also, you get robbery every day.
Yep.
You have a lot of homeless in front of your house. I don't want that. Like with that money in Europe, you can buy a castle of like Louis
Totally.
16th. So why would I live here? It doesn't make any sense.
I had never, I'm gonna admit, I had never internationally traveled other than like a couple Caribbean islands in like Canada and Mexico, but I had never really like internationally traveled until
Mm.
NFTs. Just never had the money. I was always, a broke artist. And so when I sold a couple apes, I decided like I want to see the world. Like I want to go. So
Oh, lovely.
my first place was Dubai with Keith, which
I
was
love that.
just complete sensory overload from never internationally traveled just straight to the Middle East.
To Dubai. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just where am I? And then
Exactly.
the next trip was to Amsterdam, where I saw the Netherlands.
My
And
love.
that changed my life. I went from Netherlands, then I went to Portugal and like all these just beautiful places in Europe. And I was just so mind blown by just because I'm used to when you eat dinner, you walk out to a parking lot and it's just a bunch of redneck trucks and you see the highway and a gas
Yeah.
station and maybe a homeless dude and his dog. But in Lisbon or Amsterdam, it's like you even eat at McDonald's and you sit outside and there's just this historic statue and all this
Yeah.
art and these cobblestone streets and people, incredibly fit walking around in this beautiful clothing. And you're like, this is like out of a movie.
Everybody's a model and everything looks like a
Everybody
movie scene. Exactly. Especially in Netherlands. Everybody's so good looking, well dressed with minimal
so
stuff.
beautiful.
Very minimal, like white and black, minimal, but like fit because they cycle all their life. Like till they're 90 years old, they're always on their bicycles. So of course they don't get fat. And their
It
food
was
is organic. So
the food, oh my God. And that was
yeah,
something that was so different for me. Just even like, I don't eat McDonald's in the US, but I was like getting tired of just foreign food. Just, I wanted like just caloric overload.
totally.
So
Yeah.
I hit McDonald's and it was the best McDonald's I had ever had in my entire life. I was sitting there and I think I FaceTime Keith and Mel and I FaceTime, I was like, guys, this is the best food in my life. Look around. And Keith's just like, shut up, John. Like, you like a little
It
kid who
is
just finally like
good.
left
It
his
is
home.
good. Next
It's
time,
so
try
good.
McDonald's in Spain is even better than Amsterdam. Even better than no, it's good. I
Yeah.
love that you have this experience. So you get what I mean. Imagine like living there for like 13 years and then ending up in Reseda in LA. Which
Oh,
if I want to walk, I literally today before our show, I had to walk for 2 hours to get out of my head. I
yeah.
walked in the highway. There's nothing to walk here. Like
There's nothing.
highway. I was like, there were trucks around me and like every big cars that I ever saw in my life, they would just pass by me with like 120 miles. And I was like, oh, okay, but I want to walk. That was my life. So
You know what?
today.
I want you to come visit in Vegas.
Yes, please. When is
You
best
can
time
come
for you to come there?
anytime. You can come stay with me. In fact,
Oh,
a little alpha. Do you remember Manushka?
yes, of course.
Manushka's coming, so I'm flying her out here on the 28th.
Oh, that's so Nice.
We're going to cook together for a podcast for like 5 hours. I have a production crew coming, like cameras, everything. We're going to cook
Oh
together
my gosh.
and do
I
a
love
podcast.
this.
Yeah, and vibe. You should try and figure a way to come out here
Okay.
for that
Okay.
because
Okay.
she's going to cook 5-star meals. It's going to be
28th. I can draw you in the meantime.
like seriously 28th, 29th. So those 2 days,
Okay.
we're going to be cooking, prepping, just making food. You should come out,
Okay.
stay at my house. She'll be here too.
Oh, I would love that. Okay,
It would be
28th
so
and
much
29th.
fun.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll let you
it
know.
would.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
so
even if you'd
excited.
like to take a bus out here, there's literally a bus stop like outside of my street.
Really?
Yes, like seriously, like you could
Oh
probably
my
get here in like
gosh.
4 hours.
Okay, I'll look into that. Is it
Yeah,
close to LA? 4
it
hours,
is.
you say?
It's like seriously like a 3.5, 4 hour drive
I'll
to
do that.
Vegas. You
Okay.
seriously should, because it would be so much fun and it would be like old clubhouse vibes.
Okay, I'm gonna come.
Amazing.
I
And then I'll show
take
you
it.
around Vegas, and then you can see how different. That way you can make like a full. Because I'm a little biased, and I want you to move to Vegas. So
Okay. That would be
of
very
course,
fun. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna do that. 28th and
amazing.
29th.
Yep, 28th and
Awesome.
29th.
Yay.
Manushka
I
will
love
be out here
it.
cooking. We'll be eating amazing food. I was just
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I will take you to the store, and you just buy whatever you want, and we're just gonna cook.
I love it.
It's gonna be so much fun.
This is so amazing. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I will see you
this
in a
podcast
week.
is this podcast is opening up so many ideas for me.
That's so amazing. What are you up to these days?
Honestly, just doing this has been so much fun because I decided a few months ago to just like slow down on the photography and just stop traveling as much because I've missed out on so much time of my daughter growing
Mm.
up. And
Oh,
yeah, and I just feel like every time I travel, it's getting harder and harder to be away from her because
yeah.
I know that she's 12. So in 6 years, that's it. Like she'll be moving out. She won't want anything to do with me. So I'm like, I need to
Don't
spend
say that.
I'm like, I need to spend as many hours as I can. So it's like I just spend all day taking her to jujitsu. She does like jujitsu like 3 hours a
Oh
day.
my
And
God, it's so cute.
yeah, we have like a gym in the house. So like I just train with her and just spend as much time as I can with her. Just
Oh.
yeah, and just like knowing that. So I decided like while doing that, just I need to build something because I get so bored. Like as much as I
Mm,
love hanging out with my family, I love my daughter, I still need to create and do things. And I'm still
yeah.
like shooting, photos from the house, but I'm not traveling. So I was like, why don't I do what I did originally of Clubhouse and just like, if I'm not doing anything, at least, talk to other artists, learn from other people, get to know the space better. So yeah, I started that newsletter with the photography, and then the podcast kind of just seemed like it fit that narrative so well of just
Yeah.
really getting to know people here. So I was like, all right, I'll do the podcast. And yeah, that's literally what I'm doing now is just this podcast and just
It's
enjoying
great.
life with the family. Yeah.
You're a great host too, because I
Oh,
did a
thank
lot of
you.
podcasts and I didn't really feel comfortable in like sharing stuff. Like with you, I went back to childhood, came back here. Like a lot of things that I said are way longer than how I usually talk. I usually just go directly to the answer and that's it. But like
Yeah.
with you, I was like, okay, so let me tell you about this and that and that. So you make us feel very comfortable to just share.
Awesome.
And I think that's your goal, to just share and have no filter and just like
Yep.
be our true selves. And you're doing it really well.
Thank
Kudos
you.
to you,
Yeah.
John.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the thing. There's no goal to this. There's no plan. I literally just want to have a conversation, a long form conversation, and just kind of like see where it takes us.
Yeah, I love that. But I really enjoyed it. It was, my gosh, has it been 2 hours?
Almost, it's been an
How?
hour and like
Oh
45.
my God.
It's so
I
fun,
didn't
right?
even, I was like, oh, it's 35 minutes. It's been 2 hours almost. My gosh.
Well, plan on coming out here. Let me know if you need anything
Okay,
or how to figure it out. I need to see you here. It will be so much fun. It
I'll be
would
there.
bring
I'll be
back the
there.
vibe. All right, I'm
That's it.
holding you to it.
I'm gonna
Done.
take the bus. Come there. That's
Amazing. And if you look at Spirit Airlines, it's like
Uh-huh.
$90 to fly here.
Really? Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
do that.
it's so cheap. It's so cheap.
I love it. Okay, that sounds great. Okay, I
Amazing.
will see
I'm
you in a
so
week.
excited. I'm so excited to see
Yay!
you. Oh my God.
Thanks
Um,
for the invitation. It's awesome.
yeah, of course. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I know, like,
Of
your
course.
time is precious. It's super important to me that time is. So like, thank
With
you so much.
pleasure. Of course.
Anyone who's listening to this that doesn't know who you are, which I'd be very surprised, but if they don't, where can they find you?
On Instagram and on Twitter, both is my name, Parin, and then the last name is Heidari. So it's Parin Heidari, Parin Heidari. I know. Not
This
the
is why I
easiest
love
name.
you.
Love you too.
I have to
You
tell
can find
you
me
that
there.
I have to tell you, Keith said hi before we end this because he'd kill me. And yeah, anybody who's listening to this, find Parin. Her work is incredible. Thank you for taking your time
Thank
for
you.
this. It's been
Thank you for
amazing.
having me. It was
Of course.
awesome. So great to see you again, and can't wait to see you in person very soon.
And I'll see you in Vegas.
Yes. Awesome.
Amazing, Parin.